Welcome to the formulize tutorial video about searching. We're going to look at various different ways of searching in formulize. There's quite a few, so we'll try to keep it straightforward and not overwhelm with details. Certainly there are lots of details available right here. In the first column of the list of entries, it will give you a question mark and it says click here for info about the search terms. You can always click that and you get a cheat sheet for searching through your entries, and you can scroll through that and see all the options if you want to get all of the details. But we'll briefly just run through some of the most common sorts of things you would do with searching here. So basically searching works just by typing in something and pressing enter, and there you go. We found the word day is in that column. It's part of midday, and so we've zeroed in on that entry. The other entry disappeared. Similarly, if we search for ing, it'll switch to the other one. Now you can double up on searches. So you could say find ing and day. Well, that's going to find nothing because it's not in both. But there is a way, well, searches are always an and. So, for example, that's looking for entries that have ing and have day. We could also look for things that have ing and have be. So, and works across multiple columns. Nothing matches that, but if we say pig, then something will. And all the search terms are basically looked for collectively together. However, you can also use a keyword or. If you wanted to get a little more fancy, you could say or day or ing. And if you use the keyword or, then it's going to interpret those search terms differently. This will find both because although neither matches both of those things, each of them will match at least one. So then we get what we expect. You can always clear searches by just deleting the text and pressing enter. Then no searches are in effect. No visible change there on our very small data set. You can do several different kinds of searches for dates. You could look for everything in February, and that again would lead to no change. But you can get a little more fancy than that, because perhaps we want to look for greater than February 25th. So that's going to zero in on this one entry here with the date of the 26th. And you can use greater than, you can use less than, you can use greater than equal to, less than equal to. You can also use the / and start typing in more dates here. So you could do greater than a certain date and less than another date if you wanted to do a range. So we could do, say, greater than the 25th and less than the 29th. But I need to put my less than in there. There we go, greater than 25th, less than the 29th, and it's going to find the other one. So those are some of the basic things you can do. The greater than, less than options, they all work with numbers as well. If you were wanting to, we don't have any number elements visible here. There's no question in this form right now that take a number, but you can do, greater than 10 or, less than 20 and greater than 10. You can mix and match with ors as well, as I showed before, or day or ing. You could do the same thing with numbers. Some of the, you've got negatives as well. We could say not dd. This will return nothing. I mistyped that. Exclamation mark. Didn't press shift there. So exclamation mark dd, that's not going to find anything because this date range and that search term don't both match anything at all. But if we get rid of that, then we've got not evening matches not dd. So you've got negatives. If you want to search for blanks, there's a keyword for that, blank. We're not going to find anything if we search for blanks because, well, we don't everything has a value in this tiny data set. But if we say not blank using the exclamation mark as the sign for not, then well, we find both because they both have a value, obviously. There's two other tricks that I think are worth showing. One is the today keyword. So like blank, you can use curly brackets and put in today to represent today's date. Now that is going to be treated as a floating value, essentially. If you save that, there's a way you can save the views with the Save View button. We'll look at that in a future video. If I did that, then the today keyword would be interpreted as the current date, whatever date that is when someone looks at the view. So they come back, someone comes back next week, pulls up the view that I saved. Today isn't going to mean February 26th. Today is going to mean whatever date that is that somebody calls up the view. And you can use all the same operators with today. We could say less than today, and that's going to find the other entry, which has the date of the 24th, and the two entries that I'm using right now. And you can do also plus or minus a certain number of days. So you could say, find things that are greater than 14 days in the past. So today minus 14, that's 2 weeks ago. So find things that are greater than 2 weeks ago, more at least that recent, but nothing further in the past. So that's going to call up both entries for us. And you can do ranges as well if you want to do greater than a certain date but less than another time in the future, such as today plus 14. That works as well. So greater than 14 days ago, less than 14 days in the future. So that gives you like a 4-week range if you wanted to have a floating 4-week window that you were looking at. The last keyword that is worth looking at is the user keyword. Now the user keyword will search for the current user. Now I'm logged in as the admin user right now, and the entries that we've got here belong to Randy and Victoria. So if I search for curly bracket user, then I'll actually get nothing. But if I were one of those other users, I would find the entries that matched myself. And that's useful when saving views just the same as the today keyword, because when you save the view with user, then when someone else comes in and looks at that view, user will be interpreted as them. It's always the current user who's active. So those are just some of the things that you can do with the search terms in Formulize. As I mentioned, there's a full list available through that question mark by the first search box, and it'll just explain the full gamut of numbers and text searches and various things that you can do. It occurs to me, actually, just scanning through this list, I don't think I covered the equality or the equals operator. If we just clear all our searches by erasing them, press enter, we're sort of back to where we started. So I did this trick at the beginning, day, we found midday, but if you go equals day, then it'll find nothing. Equals matches the exact text. But if we go equals midday, then there we go. So same thing's true with numbers. You could actually just type a 1 and it will search for numbers that contain the digit 1. If you go equals 1, it's only going to find that exact number. So I think that about covers it. If you've got other questions or novel combinations of things you want to search for, certainly please post in the Formulize forums, and we'll see what we can do to suggest some things. But I hope this is lots of straightforward information to help you get started with searching in Formulize.